Hi, and welcome to this overview video on the VUE to Omniverse Live Sync technology we're introducing in release 2021.2. I will be showcasing this in Nvidia's Omniverse Create 2021.3, but this will work with any Omniverse kit-based application that supports Nucleus Live Sync. On the Omniverse side, make sure that you have your Nucleus server running. To simplify things even more, you can also mount the Omniverse drive that allows you to use the Nucleus server as a regular Windows drive. Here in VUE, I've loaded a pretty simple scene that consists of a plane that has a layered material, that has an image-based dirt ground, and then two ecosystem layers, one for the trees and one for the grass. I've also removed the default infinite ground plane so that I don't have to create an export zone, so that's one step less. And finally, the scene has 4 cameras that I've already set up. The first step will be to export my full scene as USD. So just go to File, Export Entire Scene, and select the Omniverse preset. Here, this preset has set up most of the parameters that will be required for the Omniverse scene to be created correctly, like my file path, the USD type, the texture map output options, and so on. I will be exporting my ecosystem as point instances to save a few resources, and also exporting individual objects in separate files. For material conversion, you have the option to bake all materials, for instance, when you're using only full or partial procedural materials, or convert, which will leave all your image-based material content untouched. Please note that the baking process can be time-consuming, therefore might not be ideal in the context of live sync. Here, I know all of my materials are image-based, so I will it to convert. The export preset also allows you to export the sky as an HDR map. This HDR will be included directly to the USD stage. If you want this HDR to also light your scene, make sure you check Preserve Full Sky Lighting Range. And then the only thing that needs to be done is to export. The export is now completed, so let's load it and create. As you can see, the USD stage mimics exactly my view scene. I have my geometry with the sunlight, my plane, that includes my ecosystems, and the sky map. All my cameras are here as well, and I can toggle them directly from the camera widget. Now let's go back to the main camera, and I'm going to activate the live sync. So go to the Layers tab and activate live sync. Always on. And on the view side, go to File, Synchronize USD Stage. Please note that the connection between VUE and Omniverse is only one way. That means that the ground truth comes from VUE. Any change you may do in Omniverse will be overwritten with the next automatic synchronization. Now, this is where the magic happens. So let's see what can be synchronized. The first thing that we're going to check are camera moves. So whenever I move in the viewport in VUE, as you can see, it's automatically synchronized in Omniverse. So I can place my cameras wherever I want, and I immediately get some instant feedback in the Omniverse viewport. I can zoom in or zoom out, and I could change the focal distance, the blur, and so on. Now, let's see how adding assets to the scene works. Let's create a sphere and place it in my camera frustum. Maximize view again. By default, the sphere is created with a procedural material. So let's reset that. I'm now going to edit the material, change from procedural color to constant, and change the color to something more bluish. Now, I can also change the material from simple to PBR. And let's add 100% metalness. Asset visibility is actually synchronized as well. So if I wanted to actually hide the sphere from render, it hides it in Omniverse as well. And I can actually put it back. There it is. I can also rename that to metal sphere, for instance. And if I go to my stage, my metal sphere is here now. I can also synchronize the lights. So I'm just going to add a spotlight into my scene. Let's reframe that. Currently, Vue supports synchronizing the power, the color, the spread, and the fall-off properties to their USD counterparts. Light portals, area lights, light gels, and IES profiles will be supported in a future update. So now let's change a few settings on my spotlight and see what we can come up with. So first of all, I'm just going to change the color from pure white to, let's say, something very red. I am going to boost the power to, say, 5,000. Bring the light above my sphere. As you can see here, I'm starting to see the cone light. Let's change the spread to an angle of 50 degrees. And everything is actually synchronized automatically. Now let's talk about ecosystems. LifeSync is available for both material-based ecosystems and painted ecosystem. So now let's take the plane and open the ground material. What I'm going to do is actually reduce the density of the tree so that it's more visible directly. So let's get down to, say, 3 to 4%. Repopulate. Okay. And depending on your ecosystem, the LifeSync may not be synchronized immediately. Vue has to recreate the point instance, and Omniverse will also have to repopulate on its side. That's exactly what's happening right here. There we go. The density has been adjusted on both sides. LifeSync will also work with global ecosystems created using the Ecosystem Painter. While you can already paint instances directly within Omniverse, The VUE Eco Painter allows you much more flexibility and control over where you populate your instances, with, for instance, taking the environment constraint into account and so much more. So let's go ahead and create a simple Eco Painter brush. Let's create a sphere and reset its material. Now, let's bring it down to something a little bit more appropriate in terms of size. So let's bring it to, say, 50 centimeters. There we go. Now, let's open the Ecosystem Painter tool and add it to the Eco Painter population list. Make sure you're in paint mode, populate, and brush away. Let's add a little bit more. Now let's select the eraser and delete a few instances. As you can see, it's immediately transferred to the Omniverse point instance that was created automatically. Now let's quickly talk about animation. Currently, Vue can export animated Plan Factory asset-based ecosystems only. However, baking the animation for all the vegetation assets can take a bit of time, and therefore is not really fit for the live sync process. However, once you're happy with your populations, you will be able to set up your ecosystem exports for animation and resynchronize as a final step. A specific video tutorial about how to set up an animated ecosystem export to USD will be released shortly, so stay tuned. Finally, let's discuss about atmosphere exports. While Vue can export OpenVDB clouds, Omniverse will not currently load them natively. Therefore, we recommend you export your sky maps to HDR or EXR. While the initial export bakes the current sky to an HDR map, you can edit your Vue atmospheres at any time and only export the sky to a new HDR. Note that this is not live synced, so you will need to load the new HDR within Omniverse. I hope you will find this content of interest, and if you haven't done so yet, download and install Nvidia's Omniverse and start live syncing your Vue scenes. More Omniverse video tutorials will be released shortly, so keep an eye on our blog and on social medias. Feel free to contact us should you have any questions. Thanks for watching. Until next time, take care.